Hi, this is Christian Devotional author and speaker Christy Birchfield, and today we're looking at more life lessons from women of the Bible. We're going to quickly hit through 3 women who had an amazing amount of faith. Now, when you're looking at faith, these 3 women, it's the story of Mary, Mary, and Mary. So we look in the New Testament, we have Mary, the mother of Jesus. In Luke chapter 1, we find this story, starting in verse 26, where an angel came and explained to her the amazing role that she would hold in history as the birth mother of Jesus Christ on earth. Now, she hears all this story, this amazing news that she's going to be, and how does she respond? In Luke chapter 1, verse 38, it says, "I am the Lord's servant," Mary answered. "May your word to me be fulfilled." That is amazing faith. She had faith that God would do what he had promised to do in her. When we look at our lives, God has made us several promises throughout Scripture. Do we believe that he's going to do what he said he would do? Do we have Mary's faith? The second Mary, we have Mary, who is the sister of Martha. Now, we find her story scattered throughout the New Testament as well. But this particular time, we're going to look at John chapter 12. And in this, we see that she had Jesus visiting her home, reclining. They were having supper. It was nearing the time when Jesus was going to be crucified, although they didn't know that at that point. So then it says in chapter 12 of John, verse 3, it says, "Then Mary took about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume, and she poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume." What an amazing act of devotion. Giving of all of herself. An expensive gift, to be sure. She had faith that Jesus was who he said he was. So Mary had faith that God would do what he said he would do. Mary, the sister of Martha, had faith that God was who he said he was. Do we believe that God is who he is? Are we truly living out that faith in our life today? The third Mary is also known as Mary Magdalene, or Mary the Magdalene. And she, again, is found scattered throughout. She was one of Jesus' most devoted followers and stayed with him right through the very end. We find her, this particular version, she is in John chapter 20. Jesus has been crucified. Jesus has been buried. 3 days have passed. She is still in mourning. Her entire life is gone. Everything she had devoted herself to is gone. So she's hanging around the tomb. Well, what happens? So she sees in John chapter 20, in verse 15, Jesus has come up to her, but she doesn't realize it's him. And he asks her, "Woman, why are you crying? Who is it you were looking for?" And thinking he was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will get him." And Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned toward him and cried out in Aramaic, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus said, "Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that he had said these things to her. She had amazing faith. How many people would have believed that she had truly seen Jesus Christ risen from the dead? That he had been victorious. She had faith that Jesus was victorious over death. And she shared that faith with all of the disciples. Do we truly believe that God will do what he said he will do? That God is who he said he is? and that he is victorious over death and every other area of our life. We serve an amazing God, truly amazing. And if we will have the faith to be able to live out the promises that God has given us in his word, we will see God do amazing and incredible things in our lives, just like Mary, and Mary. Thank you so much for listening today as we continue to live in the world and live out the word. Thanks.